Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to explain how to get data from invoice PDFs using PyMove PDF library. This is the sample PDF that I'm going to use in this particular video, so make sure it watch till the end. We need to extract the invoice number from this particular position, and then we need to extract this purchase order number and invoice date, that is this one, invoice due date, and then we need to extract line items. But this PDF is really interesting. You can see we have a style and we have multiple style. You can see we can have one more style or two more style and so on. So we need to extract the style from this section, and these are the description of those style, right? But this one is the color, navy, Oxford leather, and so on. And also the size is little bit different here. You can see it has multiple type of size, and if the order quantity is 0, then it's just dash, and if we have a order quantity, then it puts the value. Okay, so we have this quantity order, quantity shipped, quantity BO, price, unit of measurement, and amount. So what we need to do, we need to extract all this data from this particular PDF files, and we need to build like this. Okay, so we have a metadata section, and we need to do this for thousands of PDF files. Okay, so let's say you have received hundreds or thousands of EDF invoices, and you want to extract all the data to do further analysis. For example, let's say you want to figure out which item is the most sold items, and you want to figure out that, okay, how often a specific item is being sold. Okay, or maybe you just want to find that which particular client buy more frequently. So you can do any kind of analysis based on the extracted data. So the first step is that you need to extract the data, and then you need to do the cleaning up on that particular extracted information. We need to do this for thousands or hundreds of PDF files, and that's why we need to do this metadata. It has a file path and invoice number. If you look into this, we have an invoice number, and then we have line items, and then line item is matched with this invoice number. Okay, let's say I want to check this specific line item information. So I can just get this invoice number. I can match with this invoice number in the metadata section, and then I can get the PDF file path. And based on that PDF file, I can cross check. Okay, so that's the idea, to save this PDF file path as one column as well. So that's the problem that's we need to handle in our today's task. Okay, so let's see how can we do this. Okay, so I have built out the code so that I don't need to write the code. I'm just going to explain the code. How does it works? So I have this Jupyter notebook, and you can see that I have built out this class. So it says Charles River April. That is the folder name. So I put the class name as the folder name, and we have only one PDF, but it can have thousands or 10,000 PDF file. The number doesn't matter actually. So initially we have a constructor. So you can just pass the file path. It will just open that particular file path and store as a document object. I'm using this particular package or library, and then I'm just getting this first page of that particular PDF. If you look into this PDF file, then you'll see this one is the first page and this one is the second page. One more thing that we need to bring is that please pay, that is the total due from this particular page. So that is the second page. Okay, so we have this first page and we need to bring all the data, right? So now I'm just finding all the tables in that particular page. That means in the first page. So tables equals to page dot find tables, and then metadata. For metadata, I'm just using this self dot get invoice metadata, and then I'm just adding the file path column in that particular data frame. Okay, and then we have this line items. I'm using this function to get the line items, and in that line items I'm just adding the invoice number from the metadata, and that's it for this particular init method. Now let's look into this get invoice metadata. So it accepts tables, page, and doc. Actually I could just pass the doc, and from the doc I could get the page as a doc 0, and I can find these tables from that particular page, but I already find those tables, so I don't want to do this again. Now it's just picking the second tables in that particular page and then converting into a pandas, and then I'm just renaming this. So let's do something. It is this one, and you can see we have this invoice C0522580. Now if I just use this, that is the doc object, and doc0 dot find tables, and then I'm just using first one and then 2 pandas, and let's see how does it looks. So you can see it looks like this. So basically it's getting this particular table, right? Purchase order number, invoice date, and so on. So from this one, what I want to extract is purchase order number, and to extract the invoice date and invoice due date. Those 3 things I want to extract from this particular table. So that's why I'm just renaming this to remove all of this. Like, if you look into this code, then it says rename columns lambda x, and then just replace this new line with the space and replace pound and colon with a just empty string, and then replace colon with empty string as. So that is necessary, that colon replacement. That is because this one invoice date, it doesn't have the pound sign. So I just want to remove that one as well. So it just give me that tables with all the columns formatted, and from that I just want to extract the purchase order column, invoice date, and invoice due date. So that's for the metadata from this particular part of the table. Okay. Now what we need to do, we need to get the total due, that is in the second page. If you look into this section, it says please pay 40870. So that is the second page. So that's why I'm just saying, okay, total due is going to be the page 1, that is the second page, and find tables. From that particular tables, find all the tables, and from that just convert this into a data frame. And let me show you this, what it does. If you look into this, it says column 0, please pay 40870. So what I can just do, columns, it will give me the columns, and then I can just pick the last one, it will give me that number, and I can just convert that as a float, right? You can see I can just convert that as a float number, so it's a numeric value. So that's the total due. Now I need to find the invoice number, and you can see the invoice number is this part, and it says invoice colon and then some space, and then we have that particular number. So what I'm doing, I'm just searching for that particular text, and this will return me a rectangle object with top point, top left point, and bottom right point. Okay. If you consider this one as a rectangle, so it will give me this top one, and it will give me this coordinates. Okay. Now what I need to do, when I want to extract this invoice number, I can just start from this particular place, right, where invoice end. So that is just going to be the endpoint x coordinate, right? So endpoint x coordinate, this one, and that's the starting point, and y coordinate is the same as this invoice, right? And it will end in the half. I just consider as a half, or you can just put any value, because invoice number is going to be like, let's say 10-digit number or something like that. So you can just specify the ending position of half of the page, and it's like, same y coordinate as this invoice endpoints y coordinate, right? So that's what I'm using. That, okay, search for this, and then get text. Clip is going to be whatever invoice number rectangle x1, that's the starting point, x0, and then y0, that is the invoice number rectangle y0, and then just get the half of the page, that is going to be my invoice number endpoint x coordinate, and y coordinate is just going to be the same thing as the invoice number y1, and that will give me that invoice part. And then I'm just splitting by new line, and then just getting this first 0 position. Okay. 0 position means that this will give me the invoice number, because we have one new line after this particular text invoice, and that's why. And it's experimental. It's not like, I just build out the code from scratch. It's a trial and error process. You need to search for this, you need to do some cleaning up and see, okay, what it does. Okay. And that's how we get the invoice number. So we just add the invoice number as a new column, and then just return this as a data frame. And that's the invoice metadata part. Now the next part is the line items, right? Now this one is a little bit interesting code. Okay, you can see this vertical lines, and I'm saying page.find tables. Actually, I could just use tables here, right? Because it's the same thing. Okay. So tables, and then clip is going to be my this coordinate. Okay, page.rect.x0. So what I'm saying, that I do have the table in this particular position. So it's always kind of like, paging starting position, right? This is the top position. This is my end position, right? Like this one. So that end position is coming from the total lines. So you can just search for total lines, and you get that particular positions for that particular total lines. So it starts from here. So I can just consider from the page beginning, and it will go till the page end. So if you look into this particular code, it says that clip size is going to be my page x0, and the end position is going to be my page x1, right? And this 330 and 486, that's experimental. So I did some experiment based on that page, and I just find out that it should be started at 330, and that is the y position, and this is ends at 486. So you need to do some experiment on this one. And strategy is lines underscore strict. So there are multiple strategies. You can have text strategy, you have lines strategy, you have lines underscore strict strategy. So you can check them out. Okay. Now we have vertical lines. So this is the interesting point. Okay. So how do you get these vertical lines? So if you look into this table, this doesn't have any border. Okay. It doesn't have any horizontal border. It doesn't have any vertical border. It just have some color shading, right? And also if you look into this size column, you'll say it's very, very interesting. It's like multiple column merged into one column. So that's why it's really, really interesting. So let me just show you something that we are using this page rectangle, right? So except that, let's say I just want to find all the tables from page 0, like this one. And this is my table 1, sorry, table 2, index 1. So let's try what we have in this table 3. And you can see it says that doc0 find tables 2 pandas, and it just give me this. And this is really, really bad. You can see we have the description here, but the problem is that alongside the description, we had this access as m, right? That the size, it should be in the similar line, but it's in a different line. So it's not good. But if I just use like strategy goes to lines strict, and let's run this. Now you can see it give me this. Okay. So that is 8159. Now the size is little bit okay, but you can see it's only giving me the first part of the table. Let's look at this. You can see the first part of the table. It's not giving me the second part, but if I just specify the third index, that will give me the second part. It's a Navy, Oxford either. And also look into this. Let's try this again. It's give me this, but when I try with this third one, then I get this, and that becomes a header. Okay. And that's also better, right? But if I just specify the eclipse parameter based on the experiment, so you can just search for totals line, you can search for the totals amount line, and you will get the eclipse type. Okay. So this is the clip part. So let me just find the page. So page is just doc0. So now if I just do this, okay, dot tables, see, so we have two tables. Now if I just consider first one to pandas, and it's give me this first one, and if I just use, and it's give me the second one, so it's still not good, right? But the vertical line, this is failing because it doesn't consider that, okay, these are my vertical lines, okay, these are my columns, this one is one column, this one is another, this one is another, this one is another, and so on. It doesn't consider that. But what if I just do like, okay, let's see, if we just get the first one to pandas, and it's give me this style, description, and size. If you look into this size, it's in single column, right? So what I can just do is that I can just find header, and it's give me the headers. And then if I just use cells, I guess, so cells, then you'll see these are the coordinates of those particular header cells. So this vertical lines is just the starting position of each of those header cells. You can see 17.8, 64.8. So 17.8, 64.8, 190.8, 406.8, 442.8. So what it does, it just slice those things into one column. Okay. So from 17.8 to 64.8 is one column. 64.8 to 190.8 is another column. 190.8 to 406.8 is another column. So that's the vertical lines. So I am just helping this to get these vertical lines so that it can slice those things into multiple columns. Okay. So that's the vertical line. So I didn't get this information just out of my mind. It was on some experiment, and based on this experiment, we can see the last one is 554.4, and that is this one 554.4. Now if I just do this, that vertical lines is equals to this. Let me just show you, that is this one. And I'm just going to copy that vertical lines. So this one is the vertical lines. Okay. Now if I just do this and just say tables, you can see we have only one tables instead of two tables. Previously we had two tables. Now let's do this, that 0.2 pandas, and now you can see it bring all the data into one table instead of multiple tables, right? You can see 8159, 9359, and so on. And we get this all the rows at once in a single table. Now I need to do some transformation. It's based on the experimentation. So if I have none, and I want to remove those nuns based on the, maybe you can use size column because we have size header, we have size quantity. So you can just use based on the size, or you can use description because based on the description, you can remove this one, this one, this one, and this one. So that's what I'm doing in this particular section. You can see I'm just getting that particular tables, and based on the first tables, I'm just saying log this row where description is not empty. Okay. It's not empty. So it has something. You can use size as well. So based on the description. And now I'm just creating another style column. I'm just replacing those empty string as NA so that it does fill down, and then I'm just filling down. Okay. And then grouping by that style 2, and this will group by based on each style. And the interesting part is that in each style, you can see the first row has some key information like, header information, like we have the description, we have the style that is relevant for all the rows, right? And then we have sizes, different sizes, that also headers. So that's why I'm just grouping by style 2, and then I'm just applying this particular function, and that is this one. So I'm just getting the first row, that's the header, and then details row. After the first row, all the row are details row. Like, for the second style, you can see we have two different data row, right? So details row is those, and then header size, I'm just splitting the size column by space to get all the size. If you look into this, we have XXS, we have XS, S, M, L, and so on. So I'm just splitting that by space to get all the header size. And then I'm just getting the style, getting the description. So those are the information that is relevant for all the rows, right? Now I need to create the new rows, and I'm just grouping through each rows of the details part. And then I'm just getting that color that is just from the description. You can see that's why it's a bit interesting because we have the color in the description column as a. So that's why I'm just getting the description column value as a color. And then I need to split this size part into multiple parts, right? So that part is done here. You can see quantities. So I'm just splitting this by space, and then I'm just stripping. So it just remove extra spaces. And then I'm just looking through each of those quantities and with the size label. And then I'm just adding that rows if it's not a blank. Like, if we have a order quantity, then add them as a new row. And you can see this one is a style, description, color, size, quantity, unit price, and EOM. That is the unit of measurement. Okay. And then we are just creating the data frame, and then I need to calculate the line total. That is just going to be the quantity and unit price. And then SQ, that is going to be based on the style, color, and size. And then I need to remove that style, color, and size column because I don't need that further because I have already created the SQ column, right? And then reindex based on this, reorder the columns to a proper order. And then apply, and then I'm just resetting index to get the specific order like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just remove the group by indexes, and that's it. And that's written the line item. So let me just show you this full code for one sample PDF file. So this is my PDF file, sample file, right? So I'm just going to create a class for that one. So file path list, that is source. Let's see, what do we have? Okay, and I need to pass the file path and then call dot metadata. And let's run this. Oh, table finder object is not callable. Sorry. Yeah, I understand. This table finding option is different than the previous one, so I need to use find tables. Now let's run this. So I get the metadata like this, and if I just use line items, I guess, and then I get this clean, nice line items. SQ is the style, color, and then size. And then we have the description, we have the quantity, unit of measurement, unit price, line total, and invoice number. And that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any question or suggestion on this video. If you find this video helpful, please consider subscribing and hit the bell icon for further content. Have a good day.